The courtroom was quiet that morning, not peaceful. The kind of quiet that comes right before something breaks. Marcus Thompson stood in front of the bench with a folded citation in his hand and a brown paper bag tucked under one arm. At first, no one paid attention to the bag. People bring papers, wallets, phones, sometimes even coffee into court. A lunch bag was not important, at least that is what everyone thought. Then Marcus opened it, and the entire courtroom went silent. Inside was not a sandwich, not a meal, not even enough food for a grown man. There was one granola bar and one small juice box, a child's juice box, the kind a father packs for a 6-year-old before school. I had been a judge for 37 years. I had seen criminals cry, victims shake, lawyers argue, families collapse, and defendants swear they were innocent even when the evidence was sitting right in front of them. But that little juice box made me stop, because in that moment, I realized this case was not what the city said it was. This was not just about permits, it was not just about fines, it was about a man standing on the edge of losing everything. Marcus Thompson was 32 years old. His shirt was old but clean. Near the collar, there was a small tear that had been carefully stitched back together. His shoes were worn down but polished. His face looked tired in a way sleep cannot fix. He did not look careless. He did not look defiant. He looked like a man who had been fighting life every single day and had come to court with whatever strength he had left. The prosecutor stood and opened the case. Your Honor, the defendant has been cited 17 times in 6 months for operating a hot dog cart without proper permits. Each violation carried a fine. He has paid none of them. The city is now seeking enforcement of the full amount. 17 violations. 6 months, $5,000. On paper, it looks simple. Marcus broke the rules. Marcus ignored the fines. Marcus had to pay, but people are not paperwork. And after enough years on the bench, you learn that the truth is usually hiding behind the part everyone thinks is obvious. I looked at Marcus. Mr. Thompson, do you understand the charges against you? He nodded. Yes, Your Honor. And you admit that you operated without the proper permits? Yes, Your Honor. No excuse, no argument. No speech about being treated unfairly, just a simple admission. That caught my attention. Most people fight the moment they stand in front of a judge. They explain. They blame the officer, the city, the paperwork, the system. Marcus did not. He accepted responsibility before anyone had forced him to, and that made me look closer. Mr. Thompson, I said, a street vendor license in this city costs $250 a year. Compared to what you owe now, that is not much. Why didn't you get the permit? He shifted his weight. I tried, Your Honor, 3 times. The prosecutor quickly stepped in. Your Honor, his applications were denied because he kept requesting locations where street vending is not allowed. He knew those areas were restricted, and he continued operating there anyway. I raised my hand, the prosecutor stopped. Something did not fit. Mr. Thompson, I asked, if you knew those locations were not approved, why did you keep setting up there? Marcus looked down. For the first time he seemed embarrassed, then he answered, because those are the only places I can be during those hours, Your Honor. The courtroom shifted, not loudly, not dramatically, but enough. People who had been waiting for their own cases leaned forward. The clerk stopped writing. Even the prosecutor looked up from his notes. Explain that, I said. Marcus took a slow breath. Your Honor, I work 3 jobs. 3 jobs. Those 2 words landed heavily in the room. I work overnight security at Memorial Hospital from 11 at night until 7 in the morning. Then I drive rideshare from 7:30 until about 2. After that, I run the hot dog cart from 2:30 until 6. The places where I get cited are the only spots between my driving area and my children's room school. I have to pick them up by 6:15. I studied him again. You have children? Yes, Your Honor. 3. Maya's 8. Jacob is 6. Daniel just turned 4. And their mother, his face changed. Only for a second, but I saw it. She passed away 2 years ago. Cancer. The courtroom became still. That was the first moment the case stopped being a file. Marcus was no longer just a defendant. He was a widower, a father of 3, a man working through the night, through the day, and into the evening just to keep a roof over his children's heads. I looked back at the citation record, 17 violations in 6 months. Almost 1 ticket every 10 days. Mr. Thompson, I said, if you were being cited this often, why didn't you stop? His answer came quietly. Because I need that money, Your Honor. Without the third income, I can't make rent. The prosecutor cleared his throat. Your Honor, while the city is sympathetic to his situation, the law is clear. These regulations exist for safety and fairness. If we make exceptions for hardship, then every defendant will claim hardship. He was right. That was the hard part. The law was clear. But justice was not. And sometimes, in a courtroom, the hardest cases are not the ones where someone lies. They are the ones where everyone is telling the truth, and the truth still leads to disaster. I leaned forward. Mr. Thompson, walk me through your day. My day? Yes. From the beginning. What time do you wake up? He rubbed his hands together. I get home after my security shift. If everything goes right, I sleep about 3 hours. I wake up around 10. Then I get the kids ready for school. Maya helps with the younger ones, but I still make breakfast, pack lunches, check homework, get them dressed. I drop them off by 11:45, then I start driving. When do you eat lunch? The question surprised him. It surprised the prosecutor too, but I already knew I was getting close to something important. Marcus looked away. I usually don't, Your Honor. Sometimes I keep snacks in the car. What did you bring today? He froze. That hesitation told me everything. Show me, I said, slowly. Marcus reached into his jacket and pulled out the brown paper bag. He opened it carefully, almost shamefully. Inside was one granola bar and one juice box with cartoon characters on the front. I stared at it. That is your lunch? His voice became small. It was supposed to be Maya's snack after school. I forgot to bring something for myself. No one spoke. Because suddenly every person in that courtroom understood what the file had not shown. This man had worked all night. He had slept 3 hours. He had fed his children, packed their lunches, driven strangers around the city. Come to court facing thousands of dollars in fines, and the only thing he had to eat was his daughter's snack. Evidence does not always come in folders. Sometimes it comes in a brown paper bag. But there was another detail in the file that bothered me. A pattern, tiny, easy to miss. I picked up the citation sheet. Mr. Thompson, every one of these citations was issued between 2:15 and 3:45 in the afternoon. Every single one. Why? Marcus looked startled. He had not expected anyone to notice. That's when I'm trying to finish driving and get close to the school, Your Honor. You are supposed to stop driving at 3. Yes, Mom, but you keep driving past that. He nodded. That's when surge pricing starts. Between 2 and 4, I can make almost double. Sometimes those extra rides are the difference between rent being paid and rent being late. Now the picture was clear. Marcus was not breaking rules because he thought he was above the law. He was breaking them because every minute of his life had become a calculation. If he stopped driving early, he lost money. If he drove too late, he was late for his children. If he was late, the school charged aftercare. If he paid aftercare, he lost what he had just earned. If he lost too much, rent did not get paid. If rent did not get paid, the apartment disappeared. And if the apartment disappeared, his children could be taken from him. This was not a hot dog cart case. This was a family standing at the edge of a cliff. Where do your children wait when you are late? I asked. The school has an after-hours program. $15 per child per hour. 3 children, $45 an hour. I did the math immediately. So had Marcus. That was the tragedy of it. His entire life had become numbers, dollars, minutes, whore fines, rent, food, slechtleaf. And one wrong number could destroy everything. How much do you owe right now? I asked. Marcus swallowed. $6,800, Your Honor. The number landed hard. $6,800 for a man whose lunch was a child's juice box. And if you cannot pay, my rideshare account gets suspended. Which means I lose that income. Which means I can't pay rent. And if you cannot pay rent, his voice cracked. And if you lose the apartment? He looked down. My kids could go into the system because I'd technically be homeless. There it was, the real case. Not permits, not tickets, not city regulations. 3 children could lose their father because the system was demanding money from a man who was already drowning. I turned to the prosecutor. Mr. Hernandez, you are correct. The law is clear, but if this court suspends Mr. Thompson's ability to work, what happens to those children? The prosecutor shifted. Your Honor, I understand the difficult circumstances, But we cannot enforce laws based on sympathy. I am not talking about sympathy, I said. I am talking about consequences. I let that settle. If those children enter foster care, the city will spend thousands of dollars per child every month. 3 children, caseworkers, hearings, counseling, school disruption, placement costs. The city is trying to collect $6,800 from a man who cannot pay it. But if we take away his ability to work, we may create a problem that costs hundreds of thousands. The prosecutor said nothing, because there was nothing simple left to say. I looked back at Marcus. I read your full file, not just the citations. Before your wife died, you were a loan officer. You earned $78,000 a year. After she passed, you took time off to grieve and care for your children. When you returned, your position had been filled. Since then, you have worked 3 jobs for 18 months trying to rebuild your life. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. Not because I had shown him mercy, because someone had finally seen him, not the unpaid fines, him. Your Honor, he said quietly. I know I broke the law. I'm not asking to get away with it. I just need a chance to fix it without losing my kids. That was the moment. Every judge knows that moment. The moment when procedure points in one direction, but justice demands that you look again. I sat back. The courtroom waited. Then I gave my ruling. All 17 citations will be consolidated into one case. The total amount owed is $6,800. Marcus' face dropped, but I was not finished. You are going to pay it, but not in a way that destroys your family. He looked up. You will complete 200 hours of community service, credited at $25 per hour. That will cover $5,000. The remaining $1,800 will be paid in monthly installments of $50. No interest. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the law does not normally allow community service in this type of commercial violation. The law gives this